Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. Today's video shares the explanation for the 23rd hexagram in I-Ching called splitting apart. So let's take a look at the image of this hexagram first. The external triagram is mountain and the internal triagram is earth. So the original description for the overall hexagram is mountain collapse onto earth, onto the ground. How do we understand this image is actually has a close connection to the prior hexagram decoration or overly embellish something, because if you lose your middle ground and going to the extreme state of decoration, you're losing the connection and the right balance between external look versus internal substance. And once you go to that overboard stage, it's naturally transitioning into the splitting apart or erosion hexagram. Because even for something as hard as a mountain, you start to focus too much on the outside and losing the internal substance. Over time, it will erode the support, and the whole body will collapse onto flat ground. So that's the image of and meaning of the 23rd hexagram. It means erosion. You're in a period of decline. It's moving from a very prime, strong, bright stage into a declining phase, eventually leading to demise and rebirth. So that's the point of that cycle we're going through. So if you were in that situation, what would you do? The wisdom from this hexagram saying, if you're in a kind of a misfortune or the overall social environment is very negative and misfortunate, the best thing you should do is to take no action, wait it out, having patience and invest inwards. Don't take any aggressive action or go out there express your different opinion. Rather, you just take a very reserved approach and grow yourself silently, kind of keep it to yourself and protect yourself. It's kind of similar to like that whole Cultural Revolution period in Chinese history, where the Nazi occupied World War II period, right? The whole social atmosphere environment is that people got brainwashed. So that's very similar to this splitting apart hexagram. The whole big environment we live in was messed up. So even though you have the right value, what would you do? If you try to do the right thing and kind of take a more aggressive approach, you're gonna get harmed, because you're like throwing your own self as an egg against a big old rock. You're gonna be cracked and broken. So that's the whole spirit of this hexagram. If you land on this from your coin or straw method, the best thing you can do is stay put, wait it out, and wait for the right time to come. In terms of individual lines meaning, it's actually the key to understand the positive versus negative result is individual lines relationship with the top one. Because if you look at the entire hexagram combined, this is one of the 12 trending hexagram, meaning that it's kind of nearing the end of fall and beginning of winter season. All the yin is getting stronger and stronger, almost to the point of eroding away this yang. The message is very clear. So you're saying all the fruit are falling from the tree, we're losing grain, we're losing all the leaves and liveliness in that season. So it's time to preserve, to wait for the beginning of spring to come and preserving this only yang left for its rebirth. So if this yin plays a role of supporting this yang, then the line is indicating something positive. However, if this yin is harming and hurting this remaining yang, then this line is going to have a very negative result. So let's dive into the details. The first line, the original line description is very vivid. It says erosion and decay at the foot of your bed. So it signifies that the whole foundation is rotten. You're standing on crumbled ground. It's very dangerous. This whole situation is unfavorable. In addition, you also had this image of like you might be harmed by people beneath you. Um, you might be too naive to recognize it, but people beneath you might take advantage of you, harming you, doing something intentional to take something away from you. So all of those stuff are very negative connotation. So if we land on this line, it's just more like a warning sign, like, hey, this is a bad time, watch out, and please be very careful. At least it starts with self-awareness to prevent further danger. But overall, it's a very dangerous and misfortunate situation. The second line is worse because this one has no connection to the yang line either. I'm not supporting it. I'm not having natural relationship with it. So the decay is at the supporting legs of the bed now is closer to the person sleeping on the bed. It's actually the danger is progressing and the misfortunate situation continues. So this is just as equally bad as the first one because both first and second lines are intended to harm the only yang line remaining. The third line, however, because in I-Ching it has this natural corresponding relationship because this third line, I'm on the top of this internal triagram, whereas the top line, I'm also on the same top spot of the external triagram. And one is yin, one is yang, which is the natural way of attracting each other. So I have this natural connection relationship, which is positive. So I'm gonna separate myself from the bad crowd around me. Everybody else got brainwashed. It's crazy out there. But I stay true to my own value. I'm not going to do the same thing as the crowd does to harm someone. Instead, I will separate myself from the negative influence and do the right thing. Doing the right thing meaning supporting this person, the young person, who even though is in the minority, they're in the right. The rest crowd are in the wrong. And I refuse to associate myself with the crowd. I will silently, because the whole spirit of the splitting apart hexagram is not about confronting somebody. It's about preserving myself, right? So I want to do the right thing, but I won't go head to head and confront with the crowd. I just chose now to follow you, and I will silently, quietly support and do the right thing while preserving myself. So that's the spirit of the third line. If you land on this one, it also has a very broad wisdom indication. For example, should I invest in this stock? If the whole crowd is doing it, do the opposite. That will give you a better result. It just says do not follow the crowd. That's the wisdom. The fourth one, unfortunately, doesn't have any natural relationship to the top line. And the description says erosion at your skin. That means the danger is imminent. It's so close. It's at striking distance to harm you. So it's a giant red flag flashing in our eyes saying, if you land on this one, just watch out, be prepared. Probably can't, if you can retreat and hide, go for it. But if that situation doesn't allow it, at least be prepared before you get sucked into a really bad, disastrous situation. This is actually one of the more misfortunate ones out there. The fifth line, this actually also has a relationship with the top line because remember in the initial foundational classes, I was sharing that yin line naturally should be beneath a yang line to support it. And yang line will kind of provide mutual protection and guidance to the yin line beneath it. So if you isolated those two, they follow that natural law of relationship. So naturally, this guy who's the fifth one, leader in charge, I want to support and help this guy in the minority who's right. And because I'm also in this leadership relationship, it's like a school of fish. I'm leading this school of fish, all of the same as me, yin lines, to do the right thing. I'm trying to influence them. I'm trying to turn them around. So because I can lead the other yin lines to navigate this whole overall declining social environment, and I'm doing the right thing, I can land to a very positive outcome. So before I go into the final last yang line, if you just revisit the 5 yin lines underneath, it follows that theory, right? The first, second, and fourth one, because I have no special connection with the yang line, they're pure evils. They're either self-serving, trying to deplete other people to benefit myself, or harming other people. It's just very harmful and bad situation. But in a contrast, the third and fifth, because the third has a corresponding relationship with the yang, and the fifth has a supporting natural relationship with the yang, those two are doing the right thing in their own distinctive ways. One is like on my own, do my own thing, right? Don't be brainwashed by other people. One is more a leadership role, like leading the whole group. But no matter what the method is, the intent behind those two yin lines are both positive. It's for the right cause. That's why one is neutral, one is have a more leaning the fortunate outcome. Last but not least is this yang line, meaning that the line description says preserving the seed within the fruit. Even though the fruit are all fallen from the tree because it's in the dead winter, it's declining. Nothing is super reviving or energetic. But because of this preserved hope, this seed in this fruit on the ground, I just have to wait it out, continue my patience, wait for the beginning of spring, and my yang will regrow. This is just realizing it's a natural part of nature's cycle. And once you go through this wintry cold time, hope is right around the corner. You will see the light coming. So even if you land on this one as your primary result, it means maybe temporarily right now you're still getting stuck, you're in an unfavorable case. But even maybe within a year, like very soon, things will turn around. It will change to your benefit. So that's the overall explanation for the 23rd hexagram, splitting apart or erosion. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye.